Here we are. The final time I will be ranking every Friday the 13th movie. This video took a lot of work, but I think I'm still gonna do this. Well, I might still do this with all the other franchises too, like re-rank the Halloween movies again, re-rank the Chucky movies. Hell, even do the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, which I don't think I've ever ranked before, so that'll be good. And yeah, all of those, if I make those, will be like big edited projects like this. I probably am gonna do it because, like, again, this did take a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun work. Because this is really fun to do. I don't know if you can hear that. Someone's moving their trash. Someone's moving their trash can outside. It's like right outside my window. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys how this works because this ranking is gonna work a little bit differently because I didn't really think about like how the order I was gonna film these. So I feel like this is the best way I could do it. So the way we'll be doing this is I'll be reviewing each movie in release date order, and I will then say where it ranks in the list, and then I will review it. Alright, here's an example if you're confused. Next movie, Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Heaven. Place in the ranking, number 1. And then cut to review. And this movie is blah 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 review. So that's how this is going to work. I'm going to be doing that in release day order. So from part 1 to reboot. Okay, you guys probably get it now. A lot of you horror fans probably know that most of these movies are bad. Some of them are funny bad, but most of them are bad. In fact, there's only 2 of them that I think are actually decent. It's Friday the 13th Part 4 and 6. I don't even really care about spoiling it because, like, who cares? And also, like, doesn't really matter. Every single other one is bad. But more like, especially, like, who cares? These movies are all 40 years old. Alright, enough of that jibber jabber. Let's just finally get into the ranking. Starting off with the original, Friday the 13th. My place in the ranking, number 10. Friday the 13th is a movie with super good, memorable characters and interesting scenes and good pacing and super fast shots that like cut away every 5 seconds and is a super great movie. Fun fact, just kidding. This movie is actually the opposite of all of those. This is one of the most boring horror movies I've ever seen in my entire life. The only memorable characters are the final girl, Mrs. Voorhees, and Kevin Bacon's character. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Kevin Bacon believes that this was the low point of his career. I really, really didn't like this one. There's a ton of, like, mind-numbingly stupid scenes. Like the strip Monopoly scenes. Does anyone actually play that in real life? I feel like that's just an 80s movie thing. Or the scene with the dude, like, jumping around with feathers on his head. And, like, he's, like, making these really stupid racist noises. Yeah, really bad, stupid movie. Yeah, this is the original Friday the 13th movie. And, like, this came out in 1980. Maybe this wasn't as cliche as it is now. But, like, it's still, like, just the average Friday the 13th movie. Like, the exact same thing. Boring movie where nothing happens until the last 15 minutes with boring, forgettable, cliche characters having intercourse and getting killed in sometimes cool ways. This movie is very bad. Don't watch it. The climax is pretty alright and iconic, though. So there's that. Also, there's Crazy Ralph. He was pretty funny. Now on to Friday the 13th Part 2. My place in the ranking in number 7. Friday the 13th Part 2 is really not that much different from the first movie. It even directly copies characters from the first movie, like the idiot prankster, the kinda boyfriend, the sex couple. Actually, the sex couple characters in the movie actually look like pretty identical to the sex couple from the last movie. It's another ripped blonde guy and a skinny brown hair girl. Yeah, this movie does a couple of things different, but like it's still kind of just the same bad movie with a forgettable plot and forgettable characters. And the barely better writing and comedy doesn't really help it either. This movie also does have still forgettable, but less forgettable characters than the first movie. And like I just said before, it is funnier and also has way, way better kills. So much better. They're actually on screen now, believe it or not. I don't know if I pointed that out in my Friday Part 1 review, but 99% of the kills are off screen or happen just below the screen. It's stupid and lame. That was one of my least favorite parts of Friday Part 1. And this is kind of a short review. It kind of has to be short because we're ranking 12 movies here, but it's still it's still a pretty short review because I really don't have a lot to say about Friday Part 2. I mean, it's really similar, like just a bad, boring, poorly written mess. I don't really recommend it. I mean, there is still Crazy Ralph. He's in this movie for a bit, so that's pretty epic. Friday Part 3, place in the ranking at number 4. Part 3, just like Part 2, is basically or mostly the same as the first movie. It is bad, stupid, poorly acted.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Chili's dead!
Badly and way too brightly lit because of the bad 3D effects. And overall, just a bad movie. But in my opinion, everything here is bad in a funny way. This one is probably my favorite of the original 3 movies. Yeah. The other 2 were bad in a boring way, but I think this one is bad in a funny way. I already said that. I'm an idiot. Part 2 has better intentional comedy, but Part 3 has better unintentional comedy. And Friday, Part 3 absolutely has the highest amount of dumb scenes in the original 3 movies. The beginning, the convenience store scene with the thugs, all of the kills.
Hey, now cut that out right now. That's not funny.
The weird slapsticky climax. This is a really stupid movie, but it is still somehow not even close to the stupidest movie in the franchise. But it is a stupid movie that I kind of, sort of enjoy a little. Okay, maybe not enjoy. Enjoy is a strong word, but I laughed at it. I might recommend this to people who like funny, bad horror movies. Yeah, it's basically what I have to say for Friday the 13th Part 3. It's just another Friday the 13th movie. It's nothing that special besides being funny. Final chapter, place in the ranking, number 1. Part 4 is absolutely the best one. Part 6 is a 5.5 out of 10, but this one is a 6.5 out of 10. So this one stands out from a lot of the rest of the series because it's actually pretty decent. It's not great, or like amazing or anything, but like it's decent. It is once again the exact same movie, except I feel like this one has the most fun with it and just does it the best out of any of the other ones. And this one has different types of characters too. still cliche, but at least they're different. Like in the first three movies, like you got the final girl's kind of boyfriend, idiot prankster, the couple with the sex scene, and then you got some other random guy that's literally just there for his death scene. This time we got hitchhiker guy, got the nerdy kid. Again we have the sex couple again. But we don't have an idiot prankster, thank God. And there's the stoner, and there's the guy who can't get any women. Like I said before, I think this movie does the summer camp cliche thing way better than any of the other movies do. Has more fun with it, changes it up at least a little bit. And yeah, a lot of the kills, especially in like the regular, I'm pretty sure this movie has like an uncut version where the kills are cooler. Like, so I think a lot of the kills like cut away really fast, but you see them at least a little bit, and they're way cooler than the previous three movies, especially. These aren't the coolest kills in the franchise, but they're cool enough. So yeah, to top off the Friday the 13th ranking for the third and final time is Friday the 13th, the final chapter. I just hit the mic, sorry. Yeah, most entertaining, by far the funniest movie in the series, and is also the most memorable movie in the franchise, in my opinion. So, yeah. You might disagree with me. Most of you probably think the original is the best one, but hey, I freaking hated the first one. I don't know. They're just movie opinions. So, yeah. Part 5, A New Beginning, placing the ranking number 3. Yeah, this movie was definitely made just for money. But this is actually one of my favorite Friday films because it's literally the definition of funny bad. Okay, I'm gonna try to make this make sense here. It's everything Part 3 was, but worse in a better way.
Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby.
Yeah, I think that made sense. Except for the climax. The climax was just dumb and infuriating bad. In the climax, it's just a lot of stupid shots of, like the killer, like walking up to the final girl and the kid, and they're just standing there, and then Tommy comes up and then like beats him up at last second. It's really stupid. For me, this one it's like Friday the 13th Part 4 and 6. Like it adds more fun with it and doesn't take itself as seriously. Another issue with the first two Friday movies especially is that they took themselves too seriously. Then Friday the 13th Part 3, it got a little better. It took itself a little less seriously. But then when we got to Part 4, 5, and 6, they eventually just gave up, and just had just stupid fun with it. Which is what I think you should do with a Friday the 13th movie. Not to say it isn't bad, though, because this movie is bad. This movie's writing is still, once again, just Friday the 13th on original garbage. With just mostly kind of lame kills everywhere. And holy mother of God. This is one of the sleaziest horror movies I've ever seen in my entire life. When I was younger, maybe like 9, 8, my mom didn't let me watch these at all, but my dad did let me watch the Friday the 13th movies, and even my dad would have me skip Friday Part 5 because of the extreme nudity. It's not surprising that the director of this movie apparently used to direct adult videos before making this movie. Yeah, I was not surprised at all when I heard that. So yeah, this movie is bad.
Who's that? Stop it!
and sleazy and poorly written, just like most of the other Friday movies. This one probably doesn't take itself nearly as seriously as probably any of the other Friday movies do. And most of the time, it's pretty hilarious. Part 6, Jason Lives, placed in the ranking number 2. Like I said in the beginning, Friday Part 6 is one of the top 2 movies. Because I didn't really care to spoil it, because most of these movies are bad anyway. Friday Part 6 is pretty good. I don't like it quite as much as Part 4, because Friday Part 6 does have a little bit of that element where it's taking itself too seriously. Not really, but it's a little there. Also, this movie is funny sometimes, but a lot of the comedy in this movie kind of turns out to be corny, in my opinion.
Wherever the red dot goes, you bang.
I didn't laugh a whole bunch at this movie, but I did laugh at it. It had its funny moments.
Maggot head, come on, chicken shit, come on, you pussy!
Friday Part 6 has better action than most of the Friday movies. I also really like Jason in this one. This is the movie where he becomes fully zombified, or he's fully like resurrected out of the grave. Because that's the way they came up with to bring him back alive. Honestly, that's probably the least bad in a cliche way you could have made Jason come back. They tried to do a copycat Jason, and that turned out to be stupid and one of the worst parts about Part 5. And yeah, it also would have been really bad if they tried to make like the ghost of Jason come back and kill people as like a ghost or something. That would have been really stupid too. Yeah, had Jason get struck by lightning and come back as a zombie. Not the worst way to bring him back. And also, this movie probably has some of my favorite kills in the series. There's the triple decapitation in the woods with the paintballers. There's the folding the sheriff in half. When Jason punched the guy's heart out at the beginning, that was pretty good. And there's the awesome scene in the trailer, or the RV or whatever, like with that 6 shot. Here, I'll put it up right now if I can find it. My biggest problem here, honestly, might be the characters. All of the characters except for Tommy and Megan and the sheriff, and Jason, of course, are pretty forgettable, which is a usual in a Friday the 13th movie, but that's a really bad issue in this movie, except for the main characters. Just forgettable, boring, nothing characters. Also, like Part 4, I've been kind of praising this movie a lot and making it seem like a good movie. This is still just like a 5 out of 10 movie. It's still just like a generic slasher. Like it's not great, but it's still pretty decent. I'd still recommend this to slasher fans because this movie, along with Part 4, are by far the 2 best Friday films. Part 7, The New Blood, placed in the ranking number 6. What has Friday the 13th Part 7 higher for me is not you're going to hear me say this for the millionth time, is not the subpar acting, not even subpar, just straight up bad acting, and well, most of the acting here is bad. There's some people that do a decent job in this movie, like the main character, she's alright. But anyways, what has this one higher for me is not the bad acting.
Be scared.
Or the bad writing. Or the once again boring and forgettable characters. The forgettability of the characters here is even worse than Part 6 here, even. Which Part 6 is better than Part 1, but still Part 6 is bad with the forgettable characters too. And the pretty lame kills. All of the kills here are lame. I don't think there's a single actually like really good one. It's the suspense. I actually think this movie builds suspense pretty decently. So it kind of sucks when you see it lead up to these lame kills. Apparently the MPAA really did a number on this movie, so yeah, that always sucks, especially in a horror movie. There's this shot of a guy walking down like to a fridge, and when you see the lightning flash, you can barely see Jason standing in the corner. Um, I always really liked that shot. But then it literally just leads to Jason stabbing him in the stomach once with a knife, and then you just see him lying there dead, just with the knife in his stomach, just like that. Like, pretty much all of the kills are like that. It's mostly off screen too. Like the kills here suck. But yeah, the suspense leading up to the kills is usually pretty good. But the best part of this movie is Jason. This is by far the coolest looking Jason we've had in the franchise. This time you can see a ton of exposed bone, like you see part of his mask is chipped off from the ending of part 6, and where you can kind of see some of his exposed teeth right there. It looks pretty cool. Also, he still has the part 3 axe mark and the part 4 machete mark. When Jason gets um hit in the head with the axe in part 3, the mark from it stays on Jason's mask for the rest of the series. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And his spine is exposed too. Like when you see a back shot of Jason, you can see his spine. So that's really cool. Also, I'm pretty sure this is the first movie that has Kane Hodder playing Jason, which I'm pretty sure Kane Hodder would play Jason every time up until Freddy vs. Jason. So yeah, Jason looks really good in this movie. Not pretty good. But that still doesn't really save the mid protagonist. Bad acting, really bad writing, really cliche. I haven't mentioned yet that the protagonist is a total Carrie ripoff. Like the main protagonist, the main girl, has like telekinesis for some reason, and it feels like they only added that to her so to add more convenience to their plot because they knew that their plot was stupid and didn't make sense. All the typical issues with every Friday movie are, yeah, they're kind of rough here. So yeah, this movie's not quite in my top 3. Friday Part 8, number 11. Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason takes a freaking boat. A boat. This one is so bad. Whenever they run out of ideas for shots of Jason, they just make Jason teleport in this movie because whatever, who cares? Nothing in this movie makes sense. All of the kills are horrible and also don't make sense. Except one pretty good kill where Jason punches the guy's head off and it lands into the trash can. Also, there's a pretty cool electrocution kill, which is honestly shot pretty good, in my opinion. But other than that, nearly everything about this ass movie is ass.
There is a maniac trying to kill us.
Welcome to New York.
They have these 3-year-long one-shots usually of like Jason grabbing a weapon to pad out the runtime, because once again, they're like completely out of ideas because they had to cut like half of the scenes in this movie for budget reasons. Reasons. So yeah, Friday the 13th Part 8, it has the longest runtime in the Friday franchise, not because it's all like action-packed and has a bunch of cool scenes that make it slightly longer. No, it's just horrible and boring and horribly paced. I can't believe I had this one near the top back before I watched these movies. I had this one ranked at number 4, I'm pretty sure, below Part 7. I don't know what I was thinking back then because this movie sucks. Oh yeah, and they don't get to New York until like an hour into the movie, by the way. You also you barely ever see any of the real New York City too. They had a lot more shots planned for Jason in New York City, but again, budget, so couldn't have that. Because of budget, that kept this from being possibly one of the best Friday movies. But the shots in actual New York City are pretty good. Like the shot of Jason, the one take of Jason in Times Square, I like that shot. That's pretty cool. So yep, this is a movie with like 2 good kills and like 2 good shots of Jason in Times Square. Pretty much everything else about it is bad, and not in a funny way, just in an infuriating way, especially along with the stupid ending. Oh my god, this ending. It's one of the worst I've ever seen in horror history.
Toxic waste, son. The sewer floods out with this stuff every night at midnight.
Yeah, the sewer floods out with toxic waste every night at midnight. Okay.
Don't watch this movie. It's actually so bad. My god, I hated this movie. Jason Goes to Hell, placed in the ranking number 8. Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. Kind of a stupid title. I'm pretty sure they couldn't call it Friday the 13th Part 9 because, like, out of all the things New Line bought for the franchise, like, they didn't have rights to the name, I think, so they had to give it this kind of dumb title. This movie was actually more entertaining than I thought it was going to be. But don't get me wrong, it's still a bad, boring, poorly acted... Well, okay, the acting is actually some of the better in the series, but still, it's not great. But it's definitely poorly written and very poorly directed.
I got a gun. Fuck that. I got a gun.
This movie's a pile of garbage overall, with a horrible plot and a whole stupid mythology thing that they tried to add. They tried giving Michael Myers a whole big backstory that had like complicated lore and all that crap, and that failed horribly. So yeah, and also for the millionth time, the forgettable characters. And the movie is also stupidly shot, with a lot of dumb slow motion scenes and stuff. But 23-year-old director that apparently like just got out of college at the time. So yeah, a lot of dumb slow motion shots that drag on way too long. And unfortunately, one of these scenes is the sex scene, so yay. But that ends with one of the coolest kills in the series, so that's cool, I guess. I probably shouldn't show it, though. There's a lot of nudity. But this one does get a little more interesting in the second half. And yeah, most of the acting, while being some of the better acting in the series, is still mostly subpar. The main characters are pretty decent. Like the actors, they do pretty decent. I like the ending where Freddy's glove comes out and pulls Jason's mask underground. That was pretty cool. And also, Jason looks pretty cool during the 13 painfully short minutes he's in this movie. Wait. 13 minutes? 13 minutes?
Coincidence? I think not.
So yeah, above average acting for the Friday series, and also a cool looking Jason, and it is also sometimes funny, but has one of the messiest stories in the franchise and is overall terrible. All right, moving on. Jason X, placed in the ranking last, number 12. Yay. I have to talk about this movie. Sorry if I might look like kind of a mess right now, because I just woke up like an hour ago. Actually, even less than that, as I'm filming this. I don't even know what to say about this one. I was extraordinarily bored by it, and I'm so glad I never have to watch it ever again in my whole life. The only memorable part about this pile of garbage is Uber Jason. And everything else, it isn't even hateable. It's just nothing. At least I can laugh at the more aggressively awful ones like Part 8 or Jason Goes to Hell, which is something I would much rather do than feel nothing at all watching this. So far, this has been the only one that I've barely been able to finish. There were many times where I almost turned it off. Some people apparently like this movie because it doesn't hesitate to go all out and just say screw it, put Jason in space. But I don't really see that here. I believe that a shitty sci-fi with a horror character plastered onto it in 2001, the bad early 2000s horror era, is just as cliche, if not more, than a summer camp slasher in the 80s. And yeah, I don't even really care to talk about the kills or anything that happens. I barely remember what happens in any of it anyways. At the time of filming this, I still haven't fully watched Jason Goes to Hell, Freddy vs. Jason, and the Friday 2009 reboot. But I can just tell by looking at clips from all three of those movies that even Jason Goes to Hell, are going to be better than this trash. This movie is endlessly boring and awful. Don't watch it. Holy mother of God, this movie sucks. Freddy vs. Jason, placed in the ranking number 9, as you can see there.
Freddy versus Jason. Place your bets.
Thank God that was a deleted scene. If that line had made it into the movie, I probably would have died. The last 20 minutes is the only thing worth watching in this pile of trash. This pile of stupid, poorly acted, aggressively early 2000s slop. Outside of the final battle, which is actually pretty good, you got some of the worst acting in the series, some of the worst characters in the series, and by far the corniest and cringiest humor in the entire franchise.
Freddy versus Jason. Place your bets.
Well, in the Friday franchise. The Nightmare franchise is a whole nother story.
Now I'm playing with power!
Every time I laughed at this movie, I was laughing at it, not with it. This movie came out in 2003, but I think it had been in the works since 1988, I think. I mean, you can even see the first teaser for it in Jason Goes to Hell, like I just said before. Oh, no, you're gonna see this after the Jason X review, but I'm filming this right after my Jason Goes to Hell review. But yeah, this movie had actually been in the works since the late 80s because Freddy vs. Jason is a super duper comic book kind of thing and would be pretty hard to make into a feature-length movie. And yet, they finally tried it, and...
Got your nose!
Yep. They should have made this into a short film or something, because that's definitely what this should have been. And then in the early 2000s, they should have just had Freddy and Jason have their own movies. That probably would have actually been better. Maybe they could have made a good, single Friday movie in the early 2000s to maybe have Jason X to completely forgotten about. That would have been great. But nope, they put them both into one, and of course... the only part that works is the ending of Freddy and Jason actually fighting each other. Freddy and Jason have a couple fights. It's not just the big last one, but most of them are in the third act of the movie. Okay, I made it pretty clear now that the climax is the only thing that puts this above part 1 and 8. Even without the climax, this would have still been better than Jason X. It would have still actually been less boring, but... so, this movie sucks. Okay, moving on. And finally, 2009 remake, placed in the ranking number 5. While, yeah, Jason is a little smarter and scarier in this one than most of the other Jasons, he still doesn't look nearly as cool as Part 7 Jason. And yeah, this is some of the better acting in the series, and I also like how it's self-aware. Like, even one of the characters says, "Let's all be one." Okay, the cord just fell out of my mic. I'm gonna repeat that line. I like how the movie is self-aware. Like, even one of the characters says, "Let's all be one big cliche." But I still didn't really like this movie. The stupid ending puts all the Friday cliches, just shoves them in there all real fast, and it's just, I hated the ending. The ending is so bad. The ending just feels lazy and rushed. That's what, like, the entire, like, last 10 minutes of the movie feels like. Maybe not, yeah, probably like 5-10 minutes. Just because the movie's self-aware does not make it like not like a dumb cliche that makes it kind of boring outside of the kill scenes. Speaking of them, the kills in this movie are actually pretty good. Some of them are kind of lame, but a lot of them are actually pretty good. Especially the kill where Jason like has like a girl like hung up upside down on a tree in like a sleeping bag over a campfire. She just gets like freaking roasted. That was a crazy kill. Then you see her just like drop, and you see her all burned. Another bad thing, in my opinion, this one gets kind of bad with the nudity. This movie has probably the most hateable character in the series. This annoying rich douchebag named Trent. His actor, his name is like Travis Van Winkle or something, I think. Van Winkle. I think he's known for like playing like bully characters. So yeah. Has with the cliche bubbly hot girl the stupidest, most awkward sex scene in the entire franchise. This scene just has nudity everywhere, so I can't show it, but I can show you one clip.
You got perfect nipple placement, baby. You got perfect nipple placement, baby.
You have perfect
Nipple placement,
baby. What in the fresh hell does that even mean? I don't even know what this movie is anymore. Okay, moving on. Alright, here we are. So to end off the video, I'm just going to give you a quick recap of the entire ranking. So yeah, here is the recap. Number 12, Jason X. Number 11, Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes a Boat. Number 10, Friday the 13th, the original 1980 movie. Number 9, Freddy vs. Jason. Number 8, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. Number 7, Friday the 13th Part 2. Number 6, Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. Number 5 is Friday the 13th from 2009. Number 4 is Friday the 13th Part 3. Number 3 is Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. Number 2 is Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. And number 1 is Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter. Congratulations. And uncongratulations, Jason X, because you're one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen. Yeah, this is easily the hardest video I've ever done. This video took a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun work. Yeah, I probably will do this again. Like with all of the franchises, all the other franchises, like I said before. I think I said that in the intro. So, yeah. I don't know, it's been a minute since I filmed the intro, so I don't know. But anyways, yeah, that was ranking every Friday the 13th movie. I hope you enjoyed this very big video of mine. And I'm gonna go now. Bye.
Huh?